There's a lot of willingness to consider the idea of investing in public transit, taking public transit, but this is one of these walk-the-walk situations, and it's going to be a real challenge because as a city councillor,
there's a lot of demand.
Regular commuting. Yeah. It's a lot of moving around in between. It's a lot of after hours, and I think the transit riders were wise to select us and challenge us because we're going to have to deal with some of it.
Okay, well, the end of that thought there was that they were wise to select you because you guys have such irregular schedules that to be able to take transit is going to be a particular challenge for you guys as well.
Well, yeah, some days start as early as this, and transit is not exactly running at full tilt at this time of the morning, and very often our days go to 9:30 or 10 at night. So transit in the city of Edmonton works great if you go to work at 8:30 in the morning and go home at 5. But it doesn't work for everybody else all the time, and so they wanted an extreme case to help illustrate some of the challenges, and myself and 3 other councillors were happy to take the challenge to see what the system is like over the course of a week.
Okay. So it was a week long, and that was the challenge they put forth to you. Do not take any other mode of transportation besides city transit.
Well, I'm not sure if I cheated or not, but there was one night where I took my bike to White Ave to go to a play because we knew that my wife and I knew that transit wasn't going to be running later. But other than that, I took the car keys off my key ring, and it actually reminded me of the 2 years where I lived in Toronto and didn't have a car. It was, in a sense, kind of liberating.
Right. Well, and in doing the research for this, yes, you finished the last year of your poli-sci degree in Toronto, and that's where I'm from as well. I wouldn't touch my car for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. Do you think that's a possibility here in this city right now?
I think it's going to take time, but I think we need to aspire to it for all kinds of reasons. Obviously, there are significant economic benefits to moving people with public transit. There's a big upfront cost. But it's an investment, and because car ownership is actually very expensive. All the capital that you spend there goes to Detroit or goes to Tokyo or goes to Seoul, so it's actually a huge suck on the local economy to have a car-dependent transportation system. Then there are, of course, the significant environmental benefits. Taking transit is 20 to 80% less impactful in terms of greenhouse gas emissions. So making the investment is important for all kinds of reasons. Is it possible? Yes, over time it's going to require different urban design standards that build a denser city that can sustain the populations necessary to run efficient transit, and it's going to take a sustained investment. City Council is looking now at a master plan for LRT that will see the 2 ends of the line we have now extended and 3 additional lines, and if we build the density around those lines appropriately, we should begin to see what big city transit looks like coming to Edmonton.
Now, how cohesive, we've heard about that with the LRT extending south and north, etc. West is a big challenge, and of course that's where the buses fill things in. When it comes to the proposal that's going to council tomorrow, the 24-hour service, or perhaps just till 3:30 in the morning, how do you think that's going to be received?
I think it's going to be received with interest, but I think the numbers are so big as far as the cost that the case is going to be difficult to make, because if we were going to say let's invest $10 to $15 million in transit, I'm not sure that there will be a will on council to invest it in the middle of the night. I think there is a will on council to spend money on better transit service. Whether it's in the middle of the night or not remains to be seen. I think because we've got a lot of work to do in the evenings, we've got a lot of work to do in the weekends, we've got a lot of work to do, frankly, even during some of the rush hour periods where we've got standing loads on the buses. So we need service at all points in the day. For people who are already taking it, we've got to do some catching up. I think there's an appetite to continue to look at the question of how to serve more Edmontonians in the after hours as well, at least later than when the service currently cuts off.
Now, how much more of an ear do they have in this now that you yourself, Ben Henderson, of course, did this as well? How greater an ear do they have at this point now that you've taken the true challenge?
How greater?
Well, I mean, you've obviously a little bit more receptive now that you've actually taken transit for a week around the city. Is it make you say, you know what, this is absolutely something we need to have? Are you that much more sympathetic at this point, or is it something that makes you say, well, yeah, I did it and it was a bit of a challenge, but people can do it?
I think we've got to strive for constant improvement with transit. I felt that way before the challenge because, as I articulated, I think that there's significant environmental and economic benefits, and I think social benefits too to mobility and cohesiveness of effective transit. So I was a supporter of investing in transit anyway for all of those reasons, and the true challenge just gave me a platform to articulate
yes,
that.
Absolutely.
But
okay.
I'm glad that the group is there making the case from the public side too.
Absolutely. It's something the city needs, so let's hope we
Absolutely.
can find a way to make that happen in the most cost-effective way.
Yeah,
Thank you
that's
so
what
much
we're
for being
aiming
here
for.
at this early hour.
You bet.
We will tell you where you can find out more information. Of course, we gave you the True website earlier. Now you can just go to edmonton.ca for more information. This will tell you more about what Dawn does in council. It tells you a little bit more about the issues that come up all the time. Transit is just one of them, but it is a biggie here in the city and one that we need to work on. We've got a lot more BT coming up. Quick break right now.